Bonjour, vous avez noté
You will have noted
que
that
c'est
Jean-Marc
Jean-Marc qui a
started
commencé, c'est pas moi.
saying, if you think I'm exotic, well, the next guy is even more exotic. Well, I was there at the bottom of the stage. I couldn't answer, and now I would like to answer that comment. Okay, I don't have slides. I only have pictures of what we do. I'm not like Jean-Marc. I don't have his qualities. I'm Jean-François Marty. I'm François Marty, sorry. And I used to be I left my parents' home at 17 years old, and I started working for a special company for integration of young people in Haute-Savoie, and this was a house with monks in that. So at the time, in the 70s, Chambourcy came to buy the cheese factory of the monastery, and the fathers said, no, our cheese is nice. And Chambourcy said, no, it's going to be, we're going to pay you a lot of money. And the monk said, no, we want to keep the quality of our cheese, and we don't care about the money. And so that's how I actually started discovering what it was to work for the quality of your products. And one day he said, we're going to go out and plant trees. And he said, yes. And we told him, I told him, well, we have trees all around here. And he said, well, yes, but anyway, we will need trees in 80 years from now, so we have to plant them now. Okay, so then I got married, and we created, with my wife, the first integration company. At the time, in Pas-de-Calais, there were refugees in Pas-de-Calais and, people who didn't actually find work. So those people who actually go to the UK, who try to go to the UK, those refugees, they all, speak 3 languages, and they are educated, but they just want to, find a place to live and a job in the UK. So I very much worked with Emmaüs, and together with Emmaüs, we brainstormed our ideas. Just wanted to comment that picture. The social workers say that they can help people with difficulties. I can tell you that a person who has been 15 years in prison will learn more with a donkey than with an educator. That was for Jean-Marc Borrello. You need to make sure that you maintain friendship, right? So the company we set up, it was a way for us to say, hey guys, social problem doesn't mean anything. It's just that these people don't have work, and we need to generate work for them. And just a last anecdote before I really go into the flesh of the subject. And at the time, one time, the Meunier, it's a family who has big companies. They came to us and they said, you are a community, because we are a community of Catholic people. And they said, a community is for praying, not for business. And I told them, how much time, do you need to confess? You don't have enough of a weekend. And they gave me a gift because they told me, well, you could go to HEC senior. So I didn't have any A-levels, and within 1.5 years, I was able to actually attain a level where I had the A-levels plus 15 years. Anyways, so just to talk about social economy, I was a truck driver at the time. When I arrived in this job, I thought that because these guys had nice suits, they used to read books and had culture and education. And I found that all this was wrong. However, I've learned there a methodology, and on this point I agree with Jean-Marc. It's true that, it's important when you work like this. You say, well, it's a proof of being pure if you're not competent. And then you have all the other people saying, we have our foot on the ground, and well anchored, right? I am a technology person, is somebody who told me that. And, techno, if you look at the Greek root of that word, is, puberty and acne. So, I am not an entrepreneur anyway. I am a lazy person who's had to work. So it's because we had people around us, and that's why I had to go into the economy. I would never have become a company manager if I had not been interested in helping people. So now, let's talk about the jet set of solidarity. Let's say some truth here. 5 years ago, I received a prize from Ashoka because I had a dream. In France, we know very well how to manufacture the poor of the future. We have a very low price low-quality social system, and we know then that people can enter into debt and cannot pay for their fees and for their housing and food and so forth and so on. So, that's very French. We know very well how to do that. So my dream, and this is what you see here, was to develop very expensive social housing so that people will not have anything to pay afterwards when they actually live there. Mrs. Duflo came to see this building in January, and I thought she was better on the TV than in reality. She was nicer. Well, anyways, she came and she looked at what we do, and this is a restaurant that you can see for popular education. It was in Roubaix. It's now finished and completed. 80 people in the neighborhood started giving money to create a restaurant for popular education in Roubaix, and it's all made out of straw and wood, timber. And Mrs. Duflo, the minister, came, and the people told her, this is my invoice for gas and electricity for 2012. This is for hot water, gas, and electricity, 197 euros. And she was struck by that, because in my house, I pay 6 times that. So these houses that we built are very expensive, made of local timber, clay, straw, and many people low-skilled jobs, and they're actually 2,500 euros per square meter. They're very expensive. This is the kind of house an executive would actually buy. This is the Jardin de Cocagne in Blois with 4 integration companies. This killed our reputation because we completed our site within deadline and within budget. And of course, in the building industry, this is absolutely not possible. So this was unpolite on our part. So anyway, this was my dream for those people to actually have access to correct houses, to a decent housing, and with low expenses for energy and everything. So Ashoka were the only ones to actually believe I was right and that I could do something like that. So it's good to have generous ideas for mankind, but if you don't have the business model that matches it, it's not possible to do anything. Some people will say, I'm really wondering about the fact that we have so many unemployed people in 2013 in France. I'm a bit surprised by that. Well, that doesn't lead you anywhere. We know exactly what to do in terms of social housing, integration, and ecology. But what we needed to learn was finance. So what we did was go to major companies, and we told them, well, we promise that we are going to take your money and we will never pay you for that because we want to be dealing with social housing. But I promise I'm very good. Throughout my school time, I only had zeros, so I know exactly what zero means and how to deal with that. So we went to Schneider, BNP Paribas, GDF Suez, Crédit Agricole, Crédit Coopératif, Field Trusts, and so forth, Mandarin Gestion. Now we have Natixis and the CDC, the Caisse des Dépôts, and we told them we are going to have 30% equity for social housing, and we are going to run crash tests to see how you could reclaim your money if there was a problem in housing. And what we are going to do is train people to live in those houses, because nobody trains you to live. If we give you a great boiler tomorrow with solar captures and sensors, you will not know how to use it. And if nobody explains, you won't know and you won't use it properly. So we have 4 houses that we built next to the Stade de France. And I remember there was a guy who came and he told me, you are a genius. You are doing magic. And I said, no, I don't. He says, yes, my daughter no longer has asthma. And I told him, she still has asthma, but it's just that you are living now in an ecological house, and that's why she doesn't have asthma anymore. And this is my old truck, and these are the trees that we collect and how we actually, and this is what we use in order to build houses. So we have created a housing company, and I had to fight against the administration because, and when you don't achieve anything in this republic, well, what you do is absolutely insolent and doesn't have, any chance. But once you achieve, all of a sudden you become somebody respectable and that everybody thinks that you're doing something great. Anyways, 3 debates for you that I would like to tell you about. I don't like us being seen as heroes. It's just that we couldn't do anything else but do what we did, and that's it. And you don't see us on a daily basis, or for the better, sorry. So 3 obstacles to solidarity I would like to talk about. The Nescafe clergy. You don't know what that is? Well, the clergy, for those of you who are believers, with God it's already a problem, but without God it's even worse. So we have one standard that comes out every day on, housing, whether passive house or low consumption houses and so forth and so on. The same thing for standards for solidarity, for CSR, and you could talk about that as ethical laundering in a way. So anyway, before you even do anything, you have to prove that you are pure, that you're doing, and that you have the right to do that. But we are asking for the right to trial and error, really. You see the girl here? She's actually becoming a leader in our company. She's been integrated by us. But that clergy is really tiring, because you have to prove to them that you're right, and you're not always right. You have to work with trial and error. We developed a chapel for nuns in Béthune, and they don't have any humor, well, anyway, they don't understand what we tell them. But anyway, I was asked for 200,000 euros in tests to test the straw for standards, and I had to tell them at this Nescafe clergy that straw is a natural material, and they told me yes, but you have to run tests. And I told them, this is a natural material, and that means that we have to refer to the rules of the art. But straw is ecological if it is all about money. That's what for them. They told me, even if it's not natural material, you still have to test it. And I told them, no, it's a natural material. So that means that we have to refer to the rules of the art, and I cannot go against those rules based on an art that doesn't exist. They said, well, legally you're right, but technically you're not right. So that means that you always have to fight against that clergy who doesn't have experience, who's not free of charge, and who is going to be the ones validating what you do or not. Second obstacle, as soon as you want to do something, you have to find answers to everything. This is what I call a paralyzing universal situation. If you want to build a new house, what do you do for those who live in houses that need to be refurbished? I remember a friend 20 years ago in a meeting, somebody told her, what do we do for our brothers in Chile? And she answered, nothing. We already have enough to do here. So, if you don't have time to work here, well, if you want to find solutions, find them for yourself. So if you want to try and find something universal, you will never find a solution. You will never find a good answer. And I'm the best to help people integrate the job market in Calais. If I was in Marseille, I would be doing something very different. So we have the right to work in solidarity, but not universally so. That is to say that you have to think global, to act local. But now the question is, can we also act and think local? And if we do have time, then we can see if what we have done is something that already exists somewhere else globally. Third thing that can be a showstopper as well, and there I would like to take a bit more time. This is a debate I have with the foundations and major corporations. Why? GDF, Suez, and Schneider are people that whom we work with. I wanted to change our relations to them because they put money into the housing company, and I told them, it's not very good for us because, it's like you're doing your good deeds through us. In my company, I have people, engineers who have been working at the Channel Tunnel Tunnel and the Copenhagen Tunnel as well. So, I do have engineers. I have people with very high competencies. So I told them, let's make sure that our engineers meet, and let's look at the links that exist between GDF, BNP Paribas, Schneider, and the fact that you put money into our company. And if you don't see any connection between you, it means that you are not doing well. And there was a show on TV, and there was a journalist saying, Mr. Marty, you are dealing in ecology, and explained what I do. And then he said to BNP, how do you challenge them? How do you ask them to report to you? And then he came back to me and he asked me a question, and I said, well, I'm sorry, you forgot to ask me a question. How do I challenge BNP Paribas? How do I ask them to report to me? What business are we talking about? Why would we be in that position? I mean, if the world was going well just with banks and big companies, well, you wouldn't need any non-profit organization. You wouldn't need me. So we are talking about those big corporations, and they do have very good people in them, and they also have stupid employees as well, like anywhere else. But if they put money into our company without thinking about what they're doing, either they're stupid or we don't challenge them enough or correctly. So, an example, at GDF Suez, they're very interested. They're sponsoring many projects, and their job is selling gas. And they do have a lot of people who don't pay for their gas bills. So what do they learn with us? They learn with us how we educate a family to understand how much they consume, how much they use, and so forth and so on. At Schneider, they told me, we know, if there is a lamp that is on at the 25th floor, for example. Yes, but in a social housing, if you know exactly how much you've been consuming for each month, and you have to express that in euros, not in kilowatt per hour per year, and this is how much you spend today, and then they are going to react differently, right? So engineers then tell me, we really need to get down to work if we want to set up something that allows people to understand exactly how much they spend on a daily basis. That's an example. So we want to challenge those people, telling them, come and pick up some ideas from us. We have 250 employees, and I don't want to be big like Porello. And it is a right that I have. It's maybe not better to be small. Well, Jean-Marc, this was for you as well. I like Jean-Marc very much, don't worry. Now, I believe that those companies can pick up some ideas from us for R&D, and Vinci, Eiffage could also extend what we do at social level. And if we didn't want that to happen, well, that it would mean that we would be jealous and that we would not really be interested in public good, in the common interest of people, and the fact that it would benefit to more people and not just the ones that we can serve. And that means that when we talk about solidarity in economy, well, we have to make sure that we can act in that way as well. Okay, please also stop asking from non-profit organizations who work in solidarity or entrepreneurs who work in solidarity to find solutions for everywhere in the world. Also, let's stop being French, because we hold it against the rest of the world, all the problems. I remember during the Grenelle de l'Environnement conference, Mrs. Kosciusko-Morizet said, we envisage with Minister Borlo to develop a European Grenelle de l'Environnement. And I was wearing a suit on that day. I was clean, and I told her, why do you want us to become ridicule in the eyes of the rest of Europe, except for Greece and Portugal? Because if you look at what happens in other countries, if you go to Sweden, for example, well, the social housing, if you look at the price of rent, you have water, you have electricity, and you have the temperature that will be in the house. All that is in the price of rent, and because they didn't receive bombs in that country. They think, you know, how much is it going to cost if you want to build, you know, with the stones and everything like Versailles, for example? How sustainable is that? Now, we have no monopoly whatsoever, and I think it would be good if we could pacify our relations. You know, the color of Jean-Marc is the color of Jean-Marc, and the Schneider color is the Schneider color, and the Marty color is the Marty color. Let's make sure that we allow our colors to flourish rather than trying to compete. Have a nice day.
T'es pas obligé de partir.
Je pensais que tu étais parti faire la sieste.
I thought you'd gone out for a nap. Oh, well, I don't think I could have slept with you on the rostrum. You know, if you were present in our churches, well, maybe there would be more people attending Mass. Maybe I would, actually. Well, of course, I understand that you have the perfect right to want to stay small, but you have touched upon a key point. You know that the share of housing in the French people's budget, I think, has jumped from 10-12% up to 20, 25, even 30% for young people living in big cities such as Paris or Lyon. Well, I don't know what it is like in Le Havre, I'm sorry, but you know, your homes, they are virtuous ecologically and economically. But you are so small that you cannot change the world of real estate in France. So yes, I want to add something to this. This number is 2,000. I did this for Mrs. Yenman. She was a housing minister. She's lovely, but she's awful. She says, I'm also a Catholic and a Marxist, François. And I said, well, it means that you are doubly incompetent. And so she laughed, and then I managed to demonstrate to her that social housing in France, over a period of 60 years, 17% was building, 83% was the construction, and 83% is charges. You know, we're trying to take this 17% down, but we don't care about the 83%, and it's fine if it goes up. So, yes, I have the right to be small and to let other people do other projects, you know. So we identify other people who have the same values as we do, and we hand over our system to them. It's the giving economy. You know, there are 17 structures in France with 800 people building things together. If somebody finds something, he calls the others, and we train each other, so we build houses. And then now we are opening something in Algeria. We have the right to say, I don't want to grow, I don't want to become bigger and give my thing to somebody else who wants to take it. Well, I realize that this is not a universal answer. It's my answer, and I'm fine with it. All right, well, I think this is the perfect conclusion for a session dedicated to solidarity. I'm disappointed because when we prepared, you said that Churchill said, history will prove me right because I'm the one writing it. Well, and yes, I did not want to mention that. I thought it was not humble enough. But thanks for mentioning it. Thank you very much for coming.